When you look up at the evening sky and notice a single point of light glowing brighter than anything around it, you might feel what generations of sky watchers have felt long before us. That brilliant beacon is Venus, often called the evening star or the morning star, a steady companion for anyone who has ever paused to admire the twilight. From afar, it appears calm, pristine, and almost gentle, as if it were a serene lantern hanging quietly above our world. Many times throughout history, people have mistaken it for an unknown craft or a strange visitor from somewhere beyond, because few celestial objects shine with such confidence. Yet as you follow me on this journey, you will discover that the light you see is only a reflection, a disguise worn by a planet that could not be more different from the peaceful image it projects. I'm James, and this is a Space Science NTH, where we journey together into the mysteries of the universe. What makes Venus so captivating is the way it draws you in before revealing its true nature. Its orbit is nearly a perfect circle, placing it at just the right position for sunlight to bounce off its thick cloud layer and reach our eyes with remarkable intensity. That glow triggers curiosity in anyone who notices it, especially those who grew up hearing stories about mysterious lights in the sky. But the moment we step behind that brightness, past the shining veil, the story changes. This world, sitting a little more than 100 million kilometers from the sun, rotates in a direction opposite to most planets, taking an astonishingly long time to complete a single turn. A day defined by the rising and setting of the sun stretches to more than 100 Earth days, a reminder that Venus lives on a rhythm unlike anything familiar to us. As you and I move together through this first doorway of our exploration, think of Venus not as a distant object, but as a world with a personality forged by extremes. Seen from Earth, its beauty is undeniable, almost magnetic, yet its calm exterior hides a dramatic history that has shaped every layer of its atmosphere and every moment of its slow, deliberate rotation. It is a world that teaches us not to trust first impressions, a world that invites us closer with a soft glow, only to challenge everything we think we know once we cross the edge of its clouds. And so our journey begins with light, with a mirage that has fooled even the most attentive observers, and with a promise that the story behind that radiance will lead us into places far more intense and far more revealing than the gentle shine we see from our own sky. As we drift beneath the bright veil that makes Venus shimmer like a polished jewel, the first thing that greets us is not the softness you might expect from a glowing world, but an atmosphere so heavy and so dense that it feels less like air and more like an ocean standing upright. The deeper we move, the more the sunlight fades, scattered and softened by countless layers of cloud that wrap the planet in a permanent haze. These clouds, thick and ancient, are built from carbon dioxide and shrouded in droplets of corrosive acid, a mixture that turns the sky into a place where light struggles to survive. Each layer presses downward with enormous weight, creating a world where even a gentle breeze carries the force of something far more powerful. Here in these upper reaches, the winds race around the planet with astonishing speed, circling the globe in only a handful of Earth days. From our vantage point, it feels as if we are riding the crest of a vast atmospheric river, a current that never rests and never slows. Yet if we could descend far enough toward the surface, we would find the opposite. The winds near the ground creep forward with the calm silence, but they move through air so dense that even their slow pace has immense strength. It is like watching a slow-moving tide that can still push mountains over time. As we continue downward through this layered world, the heat rises with every meter, building steadily until it becomes an overwhelming presence. This is where the true character of Venus reveals itself. Trapped sunlight and its own thick atmosphere work together to create temperatures that remain almost constant across the entire surface, day and night, pole to equator. The deeper we go, the more we sense a world locked in a cycle of its own making, a furnace that has been burning steadily for ages without nightfall or respite. The clouds above us reflect nearly all the sunlight that touches them, turning Venus into one of the brightest objects in the sky, yet that reflectivity also hides everything below. From Earth, no telescope can pierce this barrier. What lies beneath must be uncovered by instruments designed to endure conditions nearly impossible to imagine. For now, in this moment beneath the cloud tops, you can feel the enormity of the forces at work. Pressure, heat, chemistry, and wind weave together to create an environment that defies expectation, a world where familiar rules fail and extremes become the norm. This hidden realm beneath the shining veil reminds us that beauty can be deceptive. Venus appears gentle from afar, but inside its atmosphere is a world shaped by relentless power, a world where fire and pressure claim every horizon. And as we leave this turbulent domain behind and continue deeper in our journey, an even a stranger landscape awaits, one carved by ancient forces that have left their marks across a surface almost untouched by time. As we descend through the final layers of haze and sink toward the ground of Venus, the world beneath us comes into view not as a vibrant landscape, but as a vast and silent continent shaped by forces that once moved with unimaginable strength. The surface stretches outward in muted shades of gold and rust, a desert forged not by flowing water or drifting ice, but by molten rock that once spilled across the planet in waves so expansive they reshaped nearly everything they touched. Standing here feels like stepping into a memory carved in stone, a chapter from a distant past preserved beneath an atmosphere that has sealed it away for ages. The ground beneath our feet is old, far older than the surface of Earth as we know it. Without shifting plates to recycle the crust, Venus keeps nearly all of its geological history exposed, like a library that never discards a single page. Much of the terrain is made of broad plains, the remnants of ancient lava flows that cooled and hardened long before our ancestors first walked under Earth's skies. Scattered across these plains stand immense volcanic structures. Some are so wide and so sprawling that they seem to merge with the horizon itself. They do not erupt today, at least not in ways we can see directly, but their presence speaks to a time when Venus was alive with rising heat and churning rock. Among these formations are features unlike anything found on Earth. Circular patterns and dome-shaped rises that hint at eruptions that never broke the surface or that once swelled from below before collapsing quietly. There are no mountain ranges built by colliding continents, no deep trenches carved by sinking plates. Instead, every feature appears to have been shaped from within, as if the entire planet once breathed through openings scattered across its crust. This makes the landscape both familiar and alien, a place where recognizable forms exist in a world built by unfamiliar rules. To understand this surface is to remember the courage of the first machines that reached it. The early Venera landers touched down on Venus in an era when such missions were closer to acts of exploration than routine science. They lasted only a short time in the intense environment, yet in those brief moments, they captured the first glimpses of this hidden world. Through their eyes, we saw flat stones lying like cracked tablets, rough soil scattered between them, and a horizon seemingly frozen in place. There was no wind strong enough to move dust, no shifting shadows, only a persistent glow filtering through the thick sky above. Those images, grainy and distorted, remain among the rarest views ever taken on another planet. Walking across this landscape in our imagination, we are struck by the silence. There are no rivers, no storms, no signs of recent change. The planet is not lifeless in the emotional sense, but it is still calm in a way that feels almost solemn. Everything here reflects the weight of deep time. Every ridge and plain tells a story millions of years long, preserved because nothing has come to erase it. Venus holds its past the way a monument holds its inscription, untouched and unwavering. This ancient ground reminds us that worlds evolve in their own ways, shaped by histories we can only begin to interpret. And as we leave this quiet landscape behind and rise once more toward the sky, another mystery awaits above the clouds, a region where motion returns, where winds dance in the spirals, and where something unexpected may still be hiding. Leaving the surface of Venus feels like leaving a forgotten chapter of planetary history. As we rise, the muted horizon fades into a thick, glowing haze, and the world below, so still, so ancient, slowly disappears from sight. Yet the silence ends the moment we ascend into the planet's atmosphere. Here, motion returns, subtle at first, then growing stronger with every kilometer upward. Above the lower clouds, Venus transforms into a world of wind and radiant light, a place where calm gives way to one of the most dramatic environments in the solar system. High in the atmosphere, the air begins to rush with extraordinary speed, not in short bursts or passing currents, but in continuous streams that circle the entire planet. This phenomenon is called a superrotation, a vast atmospheric engine that moves the upper layers around Venus much faster than the planet itself turns. The experience feels almost surreal. Below us lies a surface locked in slow geological time, but here, the atmosphere races as though the planet were spinning far more quickly than it truly does. At these heights, winds can sweep around the world in just a few days, carving patterns into the clouds and driving massive structures that stretch across thousands of kilometers. It is a reminder that even a still world can have a restless sky. As sunlight filters through the sulfuric clouds, the scene takes on an unexpected radiance, a soft, diffuse brightness that makes every movement of the clouds shimmer with golden tones. This glowing light has puzzled scientists for decades. Something in the atmosphere absorbs ultraviolet light in a way that no known compound fully explains. These mysterious UV absorbers have become one of Venus's most persistent puzzles, a riddle hidden in plain sight, carried across the sky by winds that never cease. Moving closer toward the poles, the atmosphere reveals yet another marvel, the polar vortex. Instead of a simple spiral storm, Venus hosts a swirling structure shaped like cosmic whirlpools. At the South Pole, the clouds form a vortex with patterns that shift from hour to hour, taking shapes that resemble colossal waves or spiraling petals. They rotate rapidly, pulling and folding the surrounding clouds into graceful, ever-changing designs. This vortex is not violent in the way storms on Earth can be. Instead, it is hypnotic, a slow, continuous dance sculpted by temperature, motion, and the unusual chemistry of the atmosphere. Watching it feels almost like observing the breath of the planet itself, a reminder that even worlds without oceans or seasons can sustain powerful rhythmic motion. And yet, despite all we can describe, so much remains unknown. What drives the super-rotation? What creates the UV absorbers? What hidden dynamics shape the vortex's shifting patterns? Each question leads to another, suggesting that Venus is far more complex than the silent surface below might imply. As we rise even higher, leaving the swirling clouds behind, the winds fade, and the glow softens. The planet below remains bright and veiled, but now a new perspective emerges, one that hints at deeper meaning and broader lessons. Ahead lies not just the end of our journey, but the message Venus holds for worlds like ours. As we ascend above the highest layers of Venus's atmosphere, the world beneath us softens into a glowing sphere of amber light. The swirling vortex at the pole shrinks into a single, elegant spiral. The fast-flowing ones merge into a smooth, luminous bands wrapped tightly around the planet. And from this vantage point, the contrast becomes clearer than ever. Venus is both beautiful and unsettling, radiant yet shrouded, familiar yet profoundly altered by its own past. Up here, away from the crushing heat and the churning clouds, another truth quietly emerges. Venus is not just a destination in our cosmic neighborhood, it is a lesson written across an entire world. Scientists often call Venus a twin of Earth, and from space, the resemblance is unmistakable. The two planets are nearly the same size, nearly the same mass, formed from the same materials in the same early disk of the solar system. And yet, their stories diverged so completely that one became a place of oceans, blue skies, and life, while the other transformed into a world sealed beneath a thick, radiant veil. Understanding this divergence is not about fear, it is about perspective. Venus shows us what a planet can become when warmth accumulates faster than it can escape, when clouds trap sunlight with relentless efficiency, when chemistry shifts in ways that reshape everything from the surface to the sky. These changes did not occur overnight. They were slow, gradual, unfolding across millions of years, but they were powerful enough to rewrite the entire identity of a planet. From this quiet perch above the clouds, Venus feels less like a cautionary tale and more like a silent reminder that planetary environments are delicate stories, shaped by countless interactions between air, light, rock, and time. Nothing about them is guaranteed. They evolve, they drift, and sometimes they transform in ways that no one could have predicted. And in that sense, Venus becomes a mirror, not a mirror of our present, but a reflection of how profoundly planetary futures can differ, even when they begin nearly the same. Its atmosphere, thick and reflective, holds not only the heat of the sun, but also the memory of what once was, a memory preserved in every swirling cloud and every glowing layer of haze. As we drift farther from the planet, Venus slowly fades into the vastness of space, its brightness remains a steady beacon wrapped in gold. But the feeling it leaves behind is deeper: curiosity, humility, and a renewed appreciation for the fragile equilibrium that shapes every world, including our own. The journey ends where it began, with Venus shining in the distance, but now its glow carries meaning. It is a world that keeps its history close, that holds its secrets tightly, and that continues to teach us simply by existing. And as we turn away, moving toward the wider cosmos, we carry with us the quiet message written in its clouds: every world has a story, and every story matters